Hello everyone, hello. This is Abigail Barella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance talking about the astrology for this week, and we have a new moon early on Monday morning. It's actually at 3:01 a.m. So it'll really be in the heat of the new moon on Sunday and of course into Monday. And so this new moon is happening in Gemini. Gemini is very quick-witted, very mercurial. It's ruled by Mercury, very much mental. And if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of busyness of this time of the year, interchanging with other people, having to have those conversations with people, enjoying those conversations with people, and remembering, oh, there's all this other work that I need to do. It can be a little bit of a distracting time. And so you want to make sure you know personally where this is happening in your chart. It's the opportunity to start fresh, renew, rejuvenate, and really set intention in this area. So we are looking at 12 degrees of Gemini. Wherever that is in your chart, you're going to want to set intention. And for tomorrow and the weekend leading up to this new moon, we are in the last little sliver of the moon, and that's really the time to flush out and clear away and release. So any kind of ceremony or ritual that you want to do around that, it's an interesting new moon because it's actually the beginning of eclipse season. We're kind of dipping our toe into eclipse season, which is going to be a doozy this summer. We have 2 eclipses in July, and the first one comes early, July 2nd. And so this is a summer that's really going to be quite active in terms of our emotions and looking at our emotions and dealing with our emotions. We can no longer escape the things that need to be looked at. And for a while there, we could escape those things. And now we just have to face them head on. There's no running, there's no hiding. And it's really a great opportunity to do that work this summer. So that eclipse that we will have in July, the beginning of July, will be in Cancer. So you want to look to your Cancer house as well for looking to the future of where you want to plan. This is a great time, obviously, to get that astrological and healing work in. And we're actually doing a special offer. We're doing 21% off for the solstice, and it will be from now until June 17th. So if you want to get that offer, just type in solstice into the promo code for booking with us, with me or Kristen. Kristen is also on board doing astrology readings, and I'm doing astrology readings and intuitive healing sessions. Hi, Cynthia. And so this is a powerful new moon, but it's also, when we get closer to the eclipse, we feel that amping up of energy. And when we feel that amping up of energy in Gemini, it's extra active in our minds. And so it's really important to, I was just talking about it in a different video about really looking at Virgo and tuning into the earth and turning into our practical needs and really taking care of our bodies, taking care of our minds, getting enough sleep. That can be a challenge during this time period. So you want to make sure those things are happening. And really the main aspects with this new moon that we're getting on Monday, looking at where 12 degrees of Gemini is for you, and we have Venus trine Pluto. When we have Venus, the goddess of love and devotion, but also desire and law, I consider her like the goddess of law of attraction, bringing things into you. And when she's trining Pluto, it's actually a beautiful aspect because it shows us where we've been blocking to receiving, where we've been blocking to our own desires, and really creating these restrictions for ourselves based on fears, based on past issues, past trauma, past survival mechanisms. And so when we have this trine of the new moon, it's an opportunity to start fresh. It's an opportunity to look at, because Mercury is our processing mind. So we're able to do that internal work so that we can process and move forward. And Venus is in an earth sign. It's in Taurus because Venus rules Taurus. So it's very exalted and very lovely to be there. And Pluto is in Capricorn, which is a little bit more practical. And so you might notice really practical things coming up that have been blocking you towards getting what you want. I think I was just blocking the microphone, which is a really good example of blocking something really practical, looking at the really practical things that, see, I was blocking my microphone. I was just giving you an example of Venus trining Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn, and it's unearthing practical things that we need to look at that have been blocking us towards receiving and towards love and towards law of attraction type stuff. Oh, there's people coming down the trail. But anyway, you want to look at that. And then we have on June 16th, we have that square. Again, it's the second square that we'll get between Jupiter and Neptune. And you really want to look at where this is also happening. I have a whole video on Jupiter in Sagittarius, and it talks about the square and where it's happening in your chart, and to look at that. So that's all part of this new moon as well. We're dealing with a lot of aspects that have nothing to do with this new moon at all, but are really bringing up some conflicting and interesting and uncomfortable things that we need to look at in order to move forward. Yay, I'm glad you can hear me now. I wonder about that, how much I was covering it up. Oh well. So June 3rd to 17th, you can enjoy 21% off of our astrology readings, our intuitive healing sessions, and astrology school, you guys. If you've been curious about astrology school and really like wanting to have more tools in your toolbox to deal with some of these tougher transits that we are going to be in for a while, we're going to be in through 2021. If you want more tools and you want to understand, someone recently was like, telling me that they think that, you know, the astrology language is so divisive or makes them feel like they're not smart enough or that they're not good enough. And what I hear back from people in astrology school is like, oh, I get why it needs its own language. Like, I get these things now because it helps you when you have the language for something that isn't used in other areas of, like, so when we're talking about in astrology, you know, we don't typically hear the word sextile in our language. And so when we hear it used in astrology, it makes sense that you need a whole language to understand some of the things in astrology, and it's not meant to be pretentious or it's not meant to be separating or exclusive, but it's meant in a way so that when you understand this language, it's going to be even more meaningful than if it didn't have its own set of words and its own set of meanings. So astrology school is really meant to bring you in to the language of astrology, bring you into your own gifts and tools from learning your chart and learning your transits that you're going through at certain time periods and the relationship. One of the things that, you know, people who are learning astrology might forget or leave out or not know how to understand how different things in your chart, different planets in your chart, when they're relating to each other, when they're highlighting each other, how that activates, how that influences. And one of the things I was just like writing about, because I'm working on an astrology workbook to go along with it, and an astrology just book really. And I was talking about how, you know, it's a very Waldorf idea that, you know, my idea is that we come down to this, you know, we're a spirit and we decide to come down to this planet, but on our way down, we hit all these, we don't hit, but we go down into these different planets, and some of them we spend more time on and we get more influence from, and some of them we just kind of breeze by. We're like, in this lifetime, I don't need so much of that influence. And really that there's no, hi, buddy, that there's no right or wrong. There's no, I feel like astrology really brings in this idea that we need all the different archetypes. We need to know someone who's completely different from us and has a different planetary influence so that we can learn from each other. If we were all the same, right, how boring would that be? But I feel like astrology really helps you to understand like what your gifts are, what your strengths are in a real tangible way. And it's kind of mind-blowing. People that are going through the astrology school, it's still mind-blowing to me that I can teach this, that I can teach astrology in a way that helps people understand it, and it's that I'm not going over their head, or that it's not confusing, and that they can apply it to so much in their life and see so much drastic change. So that's my rant about astrology school. If you're interested in it, definitely reach out. I do a free call where I talk more about it, but also I have it up on my website. But so this new moon, back to the new moon, and I'm going to wrap up, but back to the new moon on Monday. It's early in the morning, so really Sunday. We're going to be in it in Monday, but this is the time period to release so that you can set new intention for this new moon. And, you know, we're going to be in the moon in Taurus, and it's going to come and it's going to conjunct first Uranus, which is the change maker, changing and setting awakenings in our mind. And then it comes over and it will conjunct Venus. So we're getting an activation from both of those planets before we have the new moon. And that's a really lovely thing to look at and to understand, because the last new moon we had was in Taurus. And we learned a lot about our personal boundaries and the things that we need, and that there's nothing wrong with actually how we are and what we need. And now's the time to really come to new understanding and like really getting the practical steps for how to set that up in our lives. So definitely look to where 12 degrees of Gemini is for you. Set up your chart reading for 21% off with the solstice special. and know that we are moving into eclipse season, and it's not gonna be like a super like party summer. It's gonna be like, yep, we're digging this stuff out, and it's gonna be beautiful and nurturing as long as we don't try to run from it. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. Take care. Bye.